Hello there, and welcome. This is a Hall of Fame Shoutcast all the way back from September 2006. It's a patch 1.2 game, which is one of the earliest patches just after retail was released. It's on Angerville between Archit3ct, who still plays to this day, and a little-known player called th15. It is the very first Hall of Fame game on the GameReplays archive. There it is. And we're going to watch it. This isn't something you can do on your version of the game. You had to have done what I've done, and that's downloaded a disk version, installed it separately, and patched it to the relevant patch version, which is very tedious. So what I'm going to do is record it and shoutcast it so we can all see it together. And here they go. You'll notice that this is quite a primitive replay system. You can't get rid of the playback icon. You can't see the units there. You can't see resources. You can't even alter the speed of the replay or restart it. You just have to watch it as though you're a bird watching a battlefield, waiting to scavenge on the corpses or what have you. Obviously, we've got the pioneers and the two engineers all together, building the barracks, going to cap resources. Pretty boring, pretty stale. Exactly what we used to. The game's been played the same way for the past 6 years, practically, in the first opening moments. But what you're going to see over the next, I think it's around half an hour, 40 minutes, is that the game used to be played a lot differently overall. And hopefully we can see that difference together. I'm not somebody myself that's actually played this game more than a year, or maybe a bit more. So to me this is really interesting. I love seeing how the game has changed and what it used to be like. And what was considered Hall of Fame worthy as well. I mean, people at the time considered this to be an excellent replay. It was given gold level status on GameReplays, or whatever that means. So whilst we're waiting for that to heat up, I'm just going to check the HoF file and have a quick look through it. HoF is an analyzer of replays. I don't know if you've ever used it. It's very easy to find on Google. I'm sure you can find it. Here we go. First worker battle. Immediately they separate and go to their relevant little covers. Yellow cover there. So that's just eerily reminiscent of what actually happens today with top level play. It's always kind of a dance of who's got the bigger balls and who's willing to go for that 50% chance of winning the worker battle. Just looking at the health bar at the bottom here. Pioneers seem to be losing this quite a bit, and other pioneers are coming in. So yeah, it's retreated the one pioneer. Early on we've got some action in this house. Let's see what that is. It's an MG. So yeah, he sent the MG all the way to the north, so that's highly aggressive play. From what I can gather, MGs used to be a lot more useful in these days, in that you could switch from window to window quite quickly and evacuate the house almost instantaneously. The American players built a rifle and then a jeep. Harassing the MG there. A second MG. Here comes the rifle. Let's have a look. Let's have a quick recap. There's the first rifle, the jeep, the second rifle. The Wehrmacht has just simply gone for double MG and then a Volksgrenadier. Very simple build orders. A lot different than what we're actually used to though. One interesting aspect of the metagame on Angerville is that Wehrmacht apparently used to go more for the left side on average rather than the right side. That house is still massively useful in preventing the cut-off there. Of course, Angerville hasn't actually changed that much. If we have a quick look at it, well, the jeep's worse for wear. The only major differences are these minor munition points here and here. If you can notice, the munitions are 10 plus, whereas they're 5 plus in the current game. So yeah, the going for the Americans cut off. Strangely enough, the Wehrmacht player thought it'd be a good idea to go into that house. The small shed with only one window. I don't think that was wise. False Grenadiers forced to retreat from taking the cut off. They did manage to white it, however. That's obviously going to help quite a bit. I must note at this point, I'm going to be completely honest with you, I've already shoutcasted this game once today. I've shoutcasted it once today on Fraps when I didn't realise I could actually shoutcast it on Twitch. The replay file fucked up. Oh, that's exactly what I was back to the game. That's exactly what I was talking about earlier. In this version of the game, the MGs could evacuate instantly. So as soon as they saw the two grenades coming from Archit3ct, he could just get the fuck out of there. And there he goes. So yeah, I've seen all this before. I can't fake my enthusiasm of it, but I'm going to do it because I am going to do a series of shoutcasts on Hall of Fame. So I want them all to be done in the same way and without Fraps fucking up halfway through, because I only recorded half of the original shoutcast. So yeah, if I sound a little bit, you know what I'm getting at. But it is interesting to see the different build orders that we are seeing here. If I get Co right into the game here, we can actually see what they've built so far. Production, Architect, Engineer's Rifle, Jeep. So it's tier 1 massively, basically. Oh, are we going to see Volks Grenadiers go down? We are indeed. That's not good for th15 there. Or this, as it might be pronounced. Who knows? So that's the first unit down for th15. Everybody else has managed to retreat before that. Jeep's been damaged again. It's been causing significant damage for the Wehrmacht though. I mean, look at these Volks Grenadiers. They're down a man. 2/3 health overall. In terms of territory, it seems like we got a little escapade here with the riflemen and the Volks Grenadiers facing off. In terms of territory, I'd give the hand to the Wehrmacht currently. They've had the +16 fuel for a little longer. Having this MG, who's actually capping now, which is you wouldn't see every day in a modern Company of Heroes game. The rifle going straight for this house to deny the MG getting there. Yes, that's because MGs are massively powerful in houses. Obviously, that is part of the game in this version. It's all about denying the MG the ability to get into the house, because once they're there, you aren't getting them out without taking losses. Riflemen suppressed there. Volks Grenadiers been pushed off, so the Wehrmacht's lost the opportunity to take +32 fuel income in addition to their tertiary income. It's difficult to know what they're actually building at the moment. I mean, obviously we can only see a tier 1 from both. The Americans do have a supply yard at this point. And there's Randy Recon looking a little bit worse away, getting some tender affection from his engineers. The Americans have no territory whatsoever at the moment, until they recap that obviously, but I'd say the Wehrmacht have had a vast proponent of all the resources. Oh, the rifles are crawling to their death here. There's one man remaining. A tiny amount of health. Considering Archit3ct goes on to be an expert level player. And again, fuel denial from the Wehrmacht player. Obviously fuel taking a massive part of the game, even at this early stage. Tanks were apparently a lot better at this level of the game, much in the same way that people fear for Code 2 being too tank dominant. I'm a tank enthusiast myself, so I'm quite excited by the prospect of tanks dominating, but yeah, not to sound too kinky. So yeah, the Americans are in a pin at the moment. If Vermets already own half this map, they've got the MG there, which has been the entire metagame really strategy for the Vermet player. It's been to hold this house with an MG. If we were to check on the build orders at this time, yeah, I think if you're thinking, what would you be expecting your opponent to be going if this was a modern game? If you're in this position, I think we're about 10, 12 minutes into the game as an estimate. What would you guess they were taking? Because if you're thinking what I'm thinking, you're probably right. Look at that range. That entire exit to the Americans' base is completely blocked off by this house. But if this was the modern game, you'd be expecting a WSC and sniper support instantly. Perhaps they could have done this in this version of the game. It probably wouldn't have stopped things, to be honest. Oh my! We just saw an engineer, a flamer engineer, go down to a Faust. That's ridiculous. And the MG did indeed go down. I cannot see one retreating. We did see the MG go down there. We saw an engineer die to a Faust, and an MG go down. I'd say because that MG was so pivotal, that was in favour of the Americans. But if I was the American player, I'd be crying bullshit at this point. There we've got Raid, so Armour Doctrine chosen for the American player. Apparently, from what I can gather, I think Raid was more of an exciting thing in these days. In one of the Tales of Heroes, which was the original quality shoutcast, possibly the forebearer to the Frontline Fatality series, well, spiritual forebearer, they got excited when, I think, Cepha used Raid in one of their first episodes, so yeah, that's interesting. There we go, beautiful textures, all the way back in 2006 before the graphics got patched. Half completed mine there. And these OPs are really dominating the game. We've got an OP on a +5 fuel there, that's uncommon. And I think this is a lull in activity. This can happen in a game. Basically, it's the calm before the storm. If this is definitely a Hall of Fame replay, which I can guarantee you it is, it's more of the eye of the storm that we're currently witnessing. Notice the Volksgrenadiers have an MP44 icon rather than the MP40 icon. That's strange. Yeah, these MGs have been dominant. With one MG and two Volksgrenadiers, the Wehrmacht has kept this left side of the map relatively untouched for the entirety of the game. And it's been a battle for the American to keep his portion of the game. So if I was doing a fuel count, I'd say the Wehrmacht's, at least had 40% more fuel overall. There's that mine that got completed, denying the cutoff. So cutoffs and mines still very, very useful. Let's just have a quick look at this MG. Sorry to disturb the camera. Oh, rifles down! Oh my. No retreat, rifles down. Didn't even see it. It's because of the mine, obviously taking away the vast proportion of their health. So Architect would have been quite confident in the fact that they could withstand that for a little longer. And he was wrong to have that confidence. Oh, and here we go, tier 4. That's what I was alluding to about 5 minutes ago. I have seen it before, unfortunately. In future casts, I will be watching this live for the first time. So yeah, it'll be a lot easier to fake enthusiasm. But there is a lot to be enthusiastic about because, to be honest, it does give me a little bit of a boner to be watching this. I have been pestering various casters in their comments on YouTube whether they'll cast an older patched Hall of Fame game for a while. So eventually it just got to the point where I thought, oh fuck it, I'll do it myself. Oh yeah, you can tell that they're the veterans. If you look below the icon, there's 2 vet stripes there. So we've got Vet 2 riflemen. Throwing a grenade into the house. 2 grenades into the house, seemingly. And then 1 from that direction. If I was the American player, I'd be extremely angry at the moment. We've got an MG that's still firing, and he just choked on 3 pineapple grenades. So yeah, that's not too friendly for the American player. And they're still getting strangled for resources. Obviously they have a +8 fuel, but that's nothing. And Pioneers coming to sweep up the remains of their munitions income. Taking out the OPs now, the American decided to OP a fuel. Perhaps it would have been wiser for Archit3ct to have secured this strategic point before OPing at that fuel. Because that has been harassed very fervently by the Wehrmacht player. The MG's finally going to get some attention, the one that was in that house. I know he was in this house, wasn't he? Oh, I hear a Calliope. Oh my. The reason I'm getting excited for a Calliope is because in this version of the game they actually have a working turret. They're not just a limp rocket launcher. They can fucking, excuse my French, they can attack. They can be a tank of many attacking methods. And look at that, the accuracy. That guy seriously must have a lack of depth perception. These Volksgren is still doing quite alright for health. 2 shells from the Calliope. And look at that, the Faust did literally no damage. 2 men dead on the Volksgrenade squad. Yeah, they're getting out of there. Oh, only 2 men left. 3 kills for this Sherman. Interesting of note, the Calliope at this point, in exchange for being a general all-purpose medium battle tank, or light battle tank by today's standards, it also, to trade that off, you had to pay for your rocket ability. You had to literally pay munitions. I don't know how many, maybe 100, I think it's between 100 and 150 last time I looked on co-stats. But yeah, that's quite interesting. So it's interesting how they trade things off like that. And here we go, if you played the game in the years before 2012 and 11, you would have seen this barbed wire formation. This is extremely common to have seen. Because, as I said earlier, Wehrmacht did used to go left side on Angerville, rather than the Malum-inspired right side that you see in tournament play and high-end Wehrmacht play. Pioneer's trying to lay mines in the... But this Sherman's going to see that this barbed wire formation is... Oh my! I was going to say the barbed wire formation is impotent, but the Sherman did still go straight through the hard road there. And we are seeing an answer to the American armour. We've got a Panzer Command coming up. So both players have gone extended Tier 1 and then straight into Tier 4. Something you would not see in today's game. We've got action over here. 2 rifleman squads versus a 1-man Volksgrenadier squad currently. Oh, what do we have over here? What is this? I thought it was the Calliope. Oh my, it sounds like a firestorm to me. And that audio cue is not present in the current game, the whistling of the shells. Oh, straight away. 2 men make it out of there, 4 men dead. And all whilst this has been happening, he's upgraded bars finally, and we've got bars taking down this OP, shredding its health. To answer this, you've got a 2-man MP40 Volksgrenadier. But it's nice to see that the Americans made a comeback on this map. It seems that OP is finally coming useful now it's connected. The tank depot is going to start churning out tanks in addition to the off-map Calliope. Interesting of note, the tech tree on armour doctrine. The Calliope was on the left side along with the Pershing and field repairs, and Allied War Machine were on the right side, so they swapped them at some point. But here we go, this is the beauty of Angerville. It doesn't matter how many sector points you have, if you take the cut-off you have nothing. And the Calliope in turn taking away the Wehrmacht's OP. Oh no, of course, that's the Americans taking away 2 OP points from the Wehrmacht, so that's wasted manpower there. Oh my god, but the resource income has already done its magic. They've gone straight for a Panther. th15 is going to be hitting the battlefield in a big way now. And we've got perhaps a Sherman or an M10 building there. That's brutal. You wouldn't expect the Americans to have upgraded stickies at this point with what having grenades that we saw earlier. Oh my god, the Americans attacking a Panther with a Calliope. That's not something you'd see. I'd love to know if the Sherman main gun upgrade would affect Calliopes. I'd love to see that. I may have a tinker around in skirmish on my cracked, torrented version of Company of Heroes. I think I can play skirmish. Of note, however, I must say, by the way, if you play a retail vanilla version of Company of Heroes, one of the better things is the menus and the game load times are dramatically shorter. That's something I've noticed. It just seems that the game loads a lot faster than it... Obviously, when you patch a game, you might continuously change the code of executable files and it might get less efficient. On Oshvin's hit the field, that was the second thing from the Panzer command. Obviously, with using all the fuel required for a Panther, there wasn't much left of the Wehrmacht. Oh, broken arrow from the Calliope. And well, quite a lot of damage done, in fact. I don't think the Sherman will continue to strafe there. No, it's going to head on home. It doesn't want to lose. And here comes the Calliope to try and finish the job. A half-health Panther is still a formidable opponent for two Shermans there. Yeah, the Panther. We've now got the Oshvins in answer to the Board Riflemen, the Panther in answer to the Shermans, but the Calliope's giving chase here. Oh, nice rear armor hit. th15 is getting a little bit angry at the moment. We can see a mine in th15's base there, if you notice. That's interesting. Perhaps to stop some kind of M8 mine strategy, but yeah, the Sherman Calliope Vet 2 taking out a Panther. That's the first. Oh, a first for me at least. Instead of taking this cut-off, the Americans should be prioritising their own cut-off, I think. They've got a plus 26 fuel income they're not getting. If it's going to be a tank battle, which it definitely is ending up being, the Americans should prioritise getting its own fuel income. So 3 rifle squads currently, 4 including the retreating one. Sherman Calliope, which has not been repaired, Vet 2. Mullering around the battlefield. Finally the American tries to take its own cut-off back. Architect must have clicked at that point. And we've got capping units facing off against each other. It's suffice to say, what is considered expert level play at this time, a month into the release of the game, wouldn't be considered expert level play nowadays. Suffice to say, myself, a level 10 player, that's something I'd be seen doing. And here we go, the Sherman trying to cut off the retreating Volksgrenadiers. Turn his attention to the Pioneers instead. And Oshvind is now attacking the riflemen yet again. So the Oshvind is the only thing keeping the American from taking the left side away from the Wehrmacht player. One thing the American may have to start thinking about, however, is victory points. And if you see here in the north, they are capping this northern victory point. Because the Wehrmacht's only losing 5, the American has lost 304. Quite a difference. You might say a 60-fold difference. This Calliope is marooned around the map. If we drew a trace of everywhere it's been, it'd cover most of it. Oh, what the Oshvin seems to be attacking the American's base. A little bit unorthodox. With Terror Doctrine, though, you've got to be thinking red smoke. But what is he attacking with this? It's a little bit of a waste. Firestorms aren't notoriously anti-armor. The riflemen immediately retreated to the northernmost corner of the map. And the retreating riflemen do a commando roll away from the falling shells, which is quite good AI if you ask me. Yet another Panther for the Wehrmacht player. We did not see his entrance, but surely his statement of presence will shortly be known, or made clear rather. 3 Shermans, two with the 50 cal upgrade. We've got the Calliope, of course. The Pershing, having read the field manual made by the field command after the death of his brethren, he's retreating the fuck out of there. 3 riflemen hitting the field. At the moment, you'd have to be giving the edge to the American player. After we saw the Wehrmacht player start to dominate, we've got a Stug 4 out, Sturmgeschütz. Oh no, the Americans walking into a trap. It's an ambush. Who's he focus firing? He's focus firing the Calliope. The Vet2 Calliope is going to go down. That is a major loss for the American player. They cost a lot more than a Sherman. Not in terms of fuel, but manpower. Panther's got half health. The Sturmgeschütz with its lovely frontal, its low hull profile, it's just bouncing shells. It is getting flanked, however. That's one of the mechanics that you'd love to see back in Company Periods 2, 6 years later. The idea of superior frontal armour and superior manoeuvrability as a trade-off against each other. The Pyre is going to do some combat repairs on the Panther here. The Panther with the unorthodox tactic of inserting its barrel into the Sherman. You don't see that every day in real battles. I am experiencing a little bit of Shoutcaster's fatigue at this point, I might say. Shoutcasting the same thing twice may do that to you. Oh, here we go. A rear armour hiss, that hit in the side of the Sturmgeschütz. Americans finally have a secure sector of territory to give themselves the income they sorely desire. After losing that Calliope with a near health Panther and a more than sturdy Sturmgeschütz, you really want to get a good presence of vehicles on the map for the American player at this point. In terms of VPs, the American finally is starting to dwindle down the Wehrmacht from 495 to 476. It's going to be a long and winding road, as the Beatles may say, to get down further there. And yeah, we've got a lull in the battlefield as they repair their tanks. Let's bring up Kora and have a quick look at what they've built. This is the American. So we see Shermans, we see Sherman replacements. This is a bit of a spoiler if you can actually see what we've got here. Let me make it bigger. Pioneers, Oshvin, Stugs. It's all happening. Let's get back into the battle. They've deployed. Oh, the action's down here. Interestingly enough, we don't have any veterancy from the Wehrmacht player. Obviously, in the early game, the Allies were starving them of fuel, but in the mid-game, the Wehrmacht had an ample supply. You'd be expecting, especially in the modern game, where the players all have a vast and deep knowledge of the tech tree, that you'd see at least some kind of veterancy, especially on these Sturmgeschütz. I'm probably pronouncing Stug wrong, but who gives a shit? Somebody in the comments, no doubt. It's amazing to see how much penetration the Shermans have on these German Panzers. Just as I say that, they start bouncing. Out of control Sherman. Oh, this is a bad loss for the Americans. Why would you attack this colossal formation of German steel? 2 Sherman tanks. 2 Tommy cookers, as the German soldiers of the time called them. So yeah, this is looking bad for the Allies at this point. In terms of territory, no, but in terms of armour on the field, yes, it is looking bad. I mean, let's do a... This is not looking good whatsoever. We've got a single rifleman squad there. No veterancy. Two-man engineer squad trying to decap. But decap what exactly? What do you hope to achieve by losing that engineer squad? Obviously battlefield fatigue at this point in the game when the players haven't played it enough to have built up a residual strength, coming into play quite heavily here. But oh my, here comes the Pershing. This could be a game changer. It could provide the impetus for the Allied player to just completely push the Wehrmacht off the field. But at the moment, it's choosing to target two Volksgrenadiers. And miss. Sticky's finally resurged for the American player. Still trying to target this munitions before retreating. With 5 men, you'd argue that's not the worst idea. Running under the treads of the Stug 4 though will not help. Oh, and retreating before taking it down. It was so close to being kaput. Oh my. And the Germans are preparing a formidable armed line, and we did not see its arrival, but it is surely here. In answer to the Pershing, you have the Tiger Ace. This is the Terror Doctrine super tank of the time. Before opposing front was released and the King Tiger replaced it, this was the Tiger Ace. And we see a Pershing trying... Oh, it's going to have to kite around because it did not realise a Tiger Ace was on the field at the time. And the turrets of the German tanks are slowly manoeuvring to take it on. What's this? The Pershing's actually doing some decent amount of damage. You've got the Germans trying to push the infantry support away, and the Pershing instantly vet 2 after taking out that Panther. That was impressive. And it's surely going to kite around now. It's only on a 3rd health, it's got no damaged engine. The Tiger Ace, however, does have a damaged engine, perhaps from the firestorm it inflicted upon itself. Well, the German command did at least. Ruthless German command, may I add. Yes, against the odds, against a Stug 4, a Panther and a Tiger Ace no less, the Panther managed to take out one of the Germans' most coveted vehicles and is now kiting away to perhaps thwart these Volksgrenadiers. Quite impressive stuff from the Pershing. You might even say lucky. All the American player needs to do is get these rifles back on the field. They really need to start retaking territory, with 162 VPs remaining. So we've got heavily damaged vehicles here. Another Stug 4 on the field. But yeah, the Tiger Ace was much like the King Tiger. But a lot of people have said, to me at least, that they prefer the Tiger Ace because of its maneuverability. It couldn't take as much as the King Tiger, which could arguably take, you know, a little bit too much at times. But it could still move around the battlefield with a damaged engine, something the King Tiger doesn't do, in that it moves like a glacier. But yeah, Panther receiving some much needed TLC. And we've got another standoff. One of the lulls in the game whilst the commanders try and perform logistic operations and get all their stuff together. In the far distance you can hear my dog barking, the hounds of war. I don't know if you can, but that surely covers for it. The Americans' OP is still intact, as is the Wehrmacht. That's quite strange to see. But yeah, you've got to be favouring the Wehrmacht player. As soon as the Americans' 2 Shermans lost, that was the engagement that settled it in my mind. It was around here. This is the battlefield. Well, the remnants of it anyway. And the Tiger Ace back to full house. Surely we'll see that engine stop being damaged, or recover miraculously when it reaches 100%. There you go. And the last remnants of the smoke rise into the air. I think the overused word of this cast has been remnants. I'll have a little pop-up below the screen for that. Stunkerzut's having a little reconnaissance here. The Pershing is going to have something to say about that. But will the American try and repeat the same trick twice? Yes, feeling overconfident with Pershing's value here. Oh, and the Oshman got a little bit too confident for its own good there. Oh, destroyed engine. Surely it'll go down. Oh no, the Wehrmacht's going to try and save it. Oh, and will it be the Pershing that falls? 2 stickies on the Tiger Ace, damaged engine once again. But that does not mean a damaged main armament, and the Pershing's suffering because of it. Oh, rear armor damage. Is the Pershing going to go down? 1 more shell required. The fully health stuck. Look at that bouncing as well. They must have patched that at some point. Some of the big vehicles in this particular game have been bouncing like crazy. Ah, but the Stug is not giving chase. The Pershing may make it out of here. There is engineer support waiting for it. It just needs to make it home. Oh, like a vulture circling half-dead antelope as it meanders around the battlefield, or the Serengeti or whatever, to continue my analogy. The Germans are going for the jugular is basically what I'm trying to say. And capping the fuel won't help you now. You've got a colossal Panzer formation in your home village. This is not looking good. The Pershing goes down. A Sherman is finally fielded from the tank depot after being starved for fuel for so long, but it's not going to help. It's not going to help one itty bit. And we've got riflemen here. We've got bars laid on the ground. Oh, it's been a massacre, and they're going for the jugular in a big way. This Sherman's been utterly impotent. And now with its floppy turret, impotent is definitely a word used wisely there. Riflemen capturing resource points. Surely stickies are required on these tanks. It does not sense that the game is a nothing building. Oh yeah, finally something building. Of course, with capturing that fuel, it's now just given the fuel impetus needed to construct another tank. But to what end? We got 4 tanks from the Germans here. 2 Stugs, an Ostwind Flakpanzer, and the Tiger Ace commanding them all. Oh, this is all but over. This is all but over. The Americans making a feeble attempt to capture the VPs in hope that this Sherman rather is made of solid titanium. Arguably a less strong steel than steel itself, but yeah, I'm chatting utter shite at this point. Oh, this has been a massacre. An absolute massacre. And we're just waiting for the end. We're just waiting for the end. I'm going to turn the audio down now whilst I talk over the end. Well, thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. As I say, I did actually see this game before, but what I'm going to say to you now is I do plan to cast these Hall of Fame games. I'm going to go through them in order, and I'm going to do them live. Hopefully I'll get better at it as I do it, and the quality of the Shoutcast will improve. If you liked it, please obviously subscribe and what have you, only so you can watch them more and I don't have to keep posting them to Reddit and stuff for you to see them. But yeah, it's been enjoyable, and I hope you enjoyed it as well. And I'm just waiting for this HQ to die so I can finish. There we go. Thank you for watching.